There is a moment in every family where one person is quietly chosen, not chosen to be loved, not chosen to lead, chosen to carry. Carl Jung spent decades studying families, and he found something that most people never recover from hearing. In almost every family system, there is one member who ends up carrying what the others refuse to look at. The anger nobody admits to, the failure nobody names, the truth nobody says out loud. That person becomes the black sheep. And here is what makes this so disturbing. The black sheep is rarely the most damaged member of the family. Very often, they are the most honest one. They were not rejected because something was wrong with them. They were rejected because they refused to participate in the lie. By the end of this video, you will be able to answer one question, and I want you to hold it the entire time. Are you the black sheep because you are broken, or because you were the only one who would not pretend? The answer is not comfortable, and most people who hear this distinction for the first time would rather forget they heard it. The black sheep does not usually know they are the black sheep. Not at first. They only know something is off. There is a particular loneliness that happens inside a crowded room, and it has a very specific texture. It is not the loneliness of having nobody. It is the loneliness of being surrounded by people who share your blood and still feeling like a guest. They know the dinners, everyone talking, nobody saying anything. Conversations that circle the same 3 safe topics for 30 years. And the black sheep sits there with the strange awareness that they are the only one who noticed the silence underneath the noise. They know the moment they said the true thing. Maybe they were 9 years old, maybe 17. They named something everyone could see and nobody would say. And the room went cold, not angry, not at first, cold, as if the temperature dropped by a few degrees. And someone changed the subject, and the dinner continued, and the black sheep learned that honesty had a price in this house. They know what it feels like to be described by their family to other people. The difficult one, the sensitive one, the one who overreacts, the one who always has to make everything complicated. Labels applied so early and so consistently that the black sheep began to believe them. And this is the part that Jung found most tragic in his patients. The black sheep almost always accepts the verdict. They spend years assuming that the problem must be them, because the math seems obvious. If one person is in conflict with everyone, the one person is probably wrong. That is what logic says. But Jung understood something logic misses. A family is not a democracy of truth. A family is a system, and systems protect themselves. When a system is built on something unspoken, the person who threatens to speak becomes the enemy of the system, regardless of whether they are right. They were not outvoted because they were wrong. They were outvoted because they were inconvenient. Jung called it the family shadow. Every person has a shadow, the parts of themselves they cannot accept and therefore refuse to see. But Jung noticed that families have shadows too, collective ones. And a collective shadow needs somewhere to go. It goes into a person. Consider a father who is furious with his own life and has never once said so. He built nothing he wanted. He married under pressure. He works a job that dissolved his sense of self somewhere around his 30s. He cannot look at any of this, because looking at it would require admitting that decades are gone, so the anger has to live somewhere. And one day his child raises their voice at the table, and the father finds a container. You are so angry. What is wrong with you? Why can you never control yourself? The anger was never the child's. The child simply held it in a place where the family could finally see it. and being seen is exactly what a shadow cannot survive. So the family did what systems do. They located the shadow in one person and treated that person as the problem. This is the mechanism, and it works with anything. The family that is quietly terrified of failure produces one member who becomes the failure. The family that never speaks about desire produces the wild one. The family that is spiritually dead produces the one who asks too many questions. The black sheep is not the source of the family's dysfunction. The black sheep is the place where it became visible. And there is a detail here that changes everything. So listen closely. The child who becomes the container is almost never the weakest child. It is usually the most perceptive one, the one who noticed, the one who could not perform the family script convincingly enough to be left alone. A child who cannot see the lie has no trouble living inside it. Only a child who sees becomes a threat. The sensitivity that got them punished was the same sensitivity that made them accurate. Being assigned this role does something to a person, and it lasts long after they leave the house. The first cost is self-doubt that never fully turns off. When one entire system tells you for 2 decades that your perception is wrong, you stop trusting your perception. The black sheep becomes an adult who feels something clearly, immediately doubts it, and asks 3 other people whether they are overreacting. The second cost is over-explanation. They learned that their reality was always on trial, so they built a habit of presenting evidence. They cannot state a boundary. They have to justify it. They cannot say no. They have to prepare a defense. The third cost is the loyalty, and this is the one nobody expects. The black sheep is frequently the family member who tries hardest to fix things. They call, they show up, they mediate, they keep hoping the family will finally see them accurately. Jung documented this pattern repeatedly, and he considered it the cruelest part. They spend their entire adult life auditioning for a role that was never available, because underneath it there is a wish that is almost impossible to give up. If I get good enough, they will admit I was never the problem. They will not. That is not how systems work. The family cannot admit the black sheep was innocent, because admitting it would require every member to take back the piece of shadow they handed over, and that is a price most people will not pay. Subscribe if nobody has ever described this to you before. What comes next is the part that ends it. What Jung understood, and what almost nobody explains, is that this is not a permanent identity. It is a sequence, and most people are stuck in it because they do not know which part they are standing in. There are 5 stages. Find yours. 1. EXILIUM. If I were different, this would stop. The first stage is exile. You know something is wrong, but you believe the problem is you. You try to correct yourself. You study the others and attempt to become more acceptable. This stage can last 20 years, and it is characterized by a single sentence repeating in the background of your mind. If I were different, this would stop. 2. Persona. You are finally tolerated, and nobody is in the room with you. The second stage is performance. You succeed at becoming acceptable, at least partially. You learn the script. You attend, you agree, you soften, and it works. Which is the trap. You are finally tolerated, and the price is that nobody is in the room with you anymore. You are being liked as a character. This is where most people stay for the rest of their lives, because it is comfortable enough to survive on. 3. Decidium. The performance ends. It does not restart. The third stage is rupture. Something breaks, usually a betrayal, and usually not a dramatic one. Very often it is small. A comment overheard. A moment where you finally saw the family choose the lie again. this time knowingly, and something inside you stops negotiating. Jung noted that people rarely cry at this point. They go quiet. The performance simply ends, and it does not restart. 4. Desensus. You have stopped being who you were and have not become anything yet. The 4th stage is the descent. This is the hardest and the least discussed. You have stopped being who you were, and you have not become anything yet. You are between identities. Old relationships fall away, and new ones have not arrived. Most people mistake this for something inside them breaking. It is not breaking. It is the middle of the process, and the emptiness feels like proof that you made a mistake. It is not proof of anything. In alchemy, this stage had a name. It was the phase where the material dissolves before it can become something else. Nothing valuable skips it. It's a 5. Reditus. You can be in the room without being absorbed by the room. Now the part that makes this uncomfortable, and I am not going to leave it out. There is a way to use everything I have just said as an excuse. It is very easy to take the phrase, "I was the family scapegoat," and use it as permanent shelter. It explains every failure. It removes every responsibility. It makes you the only honest person in a world of liars, which is an extremely comfortable place to sit, and an extremely difficult place to grow from. Jung was aware of this, and he was ruthless about it. He said the shadow does not disappear when you learn to name it. It just gets more sophisticated language. So here is the test, and it is a hard one. Think about the people in your family right now. Not the idea of them, the actual people. Do you feel grief, or do you feel the desire to be proven right? If part of you is still waiting for the phone call where they finally admit what they did, you have not integrated anything. You have simply moved the same wound into more intelligent vocabulary. The wish for vindication is the last thread holding you inside the system, and it can hold a person there for 40 years. Integration is not the moment you win the argument. It is the moment you stop needing to have it. And that is the difference between a black sheep who came back whole and a black sheep who simply learned to describe their pain more beautifully. There is one more thing, and it is the reason this channel exists. Everyone will tell you to get rid of what your family put on you. Cut it out. Kill the anger. Remove the darkness. Become light. Jung said the opposite, and he was right. You cannot remove the shadow. You can only bury it, and buried things do not stay buried. They come back at the worst possible moment without your permission, and they use your hands. The anger the family gave you does not need to be executed. It needs to be taken back and pointed somewhere useful. The intensity they punished you for is the same intensity that lets you build things they never built. The perception they called overreaction is the reason you can read a room in 4 seconds. They handed you the shadow because they could not carry it. You are not obligated to destroy it. You are allowed to learn how to use it. The black sheep was never the problem. The black sheep was the only one holding the truth, and they were holding it alone. The black sheep was never the problem. While I was writing this, something occurred to me that I did not expect. I kept trying to write the ending as the moment the family finally understands. And every version of it was false, because that ending almost never happens. And writing it would have been a comfort I am not able to honestly offer. The real ending is quieter. It is the moment you stop writing that scene in your head. That is when it is actually over. If you carried it, say so below. That is enough. The next video continues exactly where this one ends, and it goes into the stage, almost nobody survives without turning back. Together, we are stronger.